everyone, welcome back to Alice on the Giant Bookshelf and welcome to A Christie for Christmas. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books. If you've been to my channel before, you will know that I'm a huge fan of Agatha Christie. And today is the very start, the first day of the Christies Missing Readathon. This is a readathon that's being hosted by Naomi's Bookshelf, Bernard's Bookish Adventures and Say Kevy. It's running from the 3rd to the 14th of December, which are the same 11 days that Agatha Christie went missing for in 1926. I thought that to celebrate this Agatha Christie's Missing Readathon and to start December, I would bring you a video all about A Christie for Christmas. To begin with, let me tell you what A Christie for Christmas is. A Christie for Christmas is a phrase that has been used for many years now. It originated with the fact that in the 20s, the 30s and the early 40s, Agatha Christie was writing quite prolifically and sometimes releasing more than one book a year. Sometimes a novel and a book of short stories would come out. Obviously she was writing plays as well. In the late 40s, for whatever reason, Agatha Christie started to put out just one book a year. Every year there would be a new Agatha Christie book out, and her publishers in their wisdom obviously decided that the best time of year to release this would be Christmas time, and they dubbed it A Christie for Christmas. So it became many people's tradition to buy their family member that year's Agatha Christie for Christmas. So today I thought I would take on this idea and give you some recommendations, not only for this readathon, but this is my recommendation video for A Christie for Christmas. So if you're wondering which Agatha Christie book to read over the festive period, or you'd like to buy an Agatha Christie for a loved one or friend, or you'd like to buy an Agatha Christie book for yourself, this is the recommendation video for you. I'm going to be recommending 10 books, 8 of them by Agatha Christie and 2 non-fiction about Agatha Christie. There should be something in this video hopefully for everyone. I do have a few different themes, and each of the different themes I'm going to recommend you 2 books for. So the first theme up is Christmas. If you are the sort of person who likes to read a Christmas book at Christmas, Agatha Christie has books for you. So the first book I would like to recommend is called Hercule Poirot's Christmas. Hercule Poirot's Christmas is a brilliant mystery. It is not only set over Christmas time, it is one of my favourite types of books, a locked room mystery. And this one is set in a country house. It's set with a very small pool of suspects, and it's set in a family, all of whom could possibly have motive for killing their family member. And when said family member is found dead in a locked room, Hercule Poirot is luckily on hand to solve the mystery. Now this is a really good one that I remember very fondly. I've also done a mystery jigsaw puzzle of this book and really enjoyed both. I don't actually own a copy of this book, so this may have to be A Christie for Christmas that I treat myself to. I have read it though, and I highly recommend it as a really good Christmas read. The second book on my recommendations is a book of short stories, and these also feature Hercule Poirot, and this is the book The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding. Also festive themed, but I do believe that only the story The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding is actually Christmas themed. There are 5 Poirot short stories in this collection, and as an added bonus there is also a Miss Marple short story at the end. As I say, they're not all festive, but they are all brilliant Agatha Christie short stories. So if you would like to read a Christmassy short story, I highly recommend The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding. These short stories are fun mysteries, and I do always enjoy an Agatha Christie short story, so if you do too, this could be the book for you. My second category that I would like to recommend books in today they're themed by weather, and the weather that I've picked for this wintry theme is snow. So those ones had a Christmas theme, these two have a winter theme, a snowy theme. My top favourite Agatha Christie wintry snowy themed book is of course Murder on the Orient Express. This involves the Orient Express itself getting stuck in a snowdrift, making the mystery all the more mysterious and all the more locked room-ish. This is probably one of Christie's most famous works. It's certainly probably her most famous Poirot, and it's the first one I read, so I do have a special fondness for it. But if you would like to get into reading Hercule Poirot, this is a really good book. I've recently reread it. It stands up to rereading, and it's a brilliant mystery. So this is the first pick if you would like a snowy themed, wintry themed Agatha Christie book for Christmas. My second pick is also one that I'm going to be reading during this readathon, and that is The Sittaford Mystery. The Sittaford Mystery also involves snow. It involves a tiny village in the snow in winter. It involves a seance. Christie often wrote books with slightly supernatural elements or seances, and they usually turned out to be actually natural reasons, not supernatural. But it's always interesting to read one of her books with a slightly more spooky, macabre element. My particular copy of this book has a very terrifying cover, so I wouldn't recommend buying this Fontana edition, but I do recommend the book as a great book set in snowy weather. I know Christmas mysteries and snowy mysteries are not for everyone, and you might be thinking at this time of year, all I want is a bit of escapism. I don't want to think about bad weather. I want a nice sunny holiday book. Okay, so if you are into escapism at this time of year and you want to read books with better weather, then I have two sort of Poirot on holiday in hot climates books to recommend to you. The first of those is Death on the Nile. This is soon getting another adaptation, which I'm not sure whether I'm going to like or not, because I did feel that Kenneth Branagh had slightly missed the point in adapting Murder on the Orient Express, so I don't hold out much hope for his adaptation of Death on the Nile. However, I probably will still watch it, because I will watch pretty much anything linked to Agatha Christie. So, Death on the Nile is a really intriguing murder mystery. It involves a cruise along the Nile, and it involves the discovery that one of the passengers has been killed. Of course, Poirot is on board to solve the case, and this is a case that is one of Poirot's most famous again. But if you would like an escapist book and you would like to escape to the River Nile at this time of year, get some hot winter sun, I would recommend Death on the Nile. It's a great read. Another great Agatha Christie read set on a holiday is Evil Under the Sun. Chosen this one because it's a really good mystery and it has a beach setting. I could have chosen other books. I could have chosen a Caribbean mystery. I could have chosen one of Agatha Christie's many books set in the Middle East and other countries, but I've gone for Evil Under the Sun, which I believe is set probably in Devon, and Poirot is away on a holiday, a bit of a break. Of course, on his holiday break, he never gets any peace. He ends up with another murder to investigate. It's a really intriguing one again, and I would highly recommend it if you would like to read an escapist and sunny book with a good mystery set on a beach. Go for Evil Under the Sun. The next category I would like to recommend you a couple of books in is short stories, and I'd like to recommend a couple of short story collections of Agatha Christie's. And in the interest of fairness, I have not picked any more Hercule Poirot books. So I know I'm always a bit biased, but for short stories, I have selected you two of Agatha's other sleuths, or should I say three. So we have, first of all, The 13 Problems. This is a Miss Marple story collection, and in my opinion, this is one of Miss Marple's finest outings. The premise of this book is that Miss Marple attends a club called the Tuesday Night Club, and in the Tuesday Night Club each of the participants tells a mysterious unsolved story. Each of the stories is a mystery that is told to the participants at the Tuesday Night Club, and Miss Marple is able to solve these mysteries from sitting in her chair. She always knows somebody similar to who the story's about, or something similar that happened to somebody in the village. So Marple, as always, uses her fount of knowledge about human beings to solve these cases. It says on the blurb here that each story is a little masterpiece of detection, clever and ingenious, with just that added twist that only Agatha Christie can give. So I highly recommend the 13 Problems if you would like to read a Miss Marple short story collection. My other short story collection features Agatha Christie's underrated sleuths, Tommy and Tuppence. Tommy and Tuppence are a couple. In this one, I believe that they are married in this one, but in the first Tommy and Tuppence book that comes before this, they meet in Partners in Crime, which is their only short story collection. The rest are all novels. This one was all about Tommy and Tuppence emulating different detectives. So Agatha Christie wrote these stories as homages to different famous detectives and writers of the time. Some of these writers and their detectives are now long forgotten, some are still famous, and it's a really interesting little book of short stories, and it's quite different to other Agatha Christie's. So I would recommend this if you'd like something a bit out of the ordinary, something a bit interesting. If you're interested in detective fiction of the past, these short stories in which Tommy and Tuppence Beresford solve crimes are really interesting and intriguing. This is my other short story collection recommendation. And it brings us to our final category, which is non-fiction. And these non-fiction books are about Agatha Christie. They are not by Agatha Christie. So the first one is called A is for Arsenic, The Poisons of Agatha Christie by Catherine Harkup. I highly recommend this book if you are interested in poison and how it was used as a frequent murder method by Agatha Christie. In this one, Catherine Harkup investigates the poisons that were used in 14 classic Agatha Christie mysteries. So I do recommend this if you enjoy Agatha Christie's use of poisons in her book. This is a really fascinating, insightful book. Secondly, this one is much more about Agatha Christie and her mysteries, and it's Agatha Christie's Secret Notebooks by John Curran. This book seeks to tell us all about Agatha Christie's own personal notebooks that she kept while she was writing all of her stories. These were unearthed amongst Agatha Christie's things at the family home of Greenway, the holiday home, and there were 75 volumes. They were all written in Agatha Christie's almost unreadable handwriting, and John Curran took on the job of translating these and finding out what was in them, and it was a real mixture. This is a delightful book, and it does have spoilers for some of the mysteries, but helpfully at the beginning of each chapter it tells you which mystery solutions are discussed, so you can avoid a chapter if you haven't read that book yet. It actually took me quite some time to read this book because I kept having to stop to read all of the books that were mentioned before I could go ahead. It's well worth reading this one if you have read a lot of Agatha Christie's mysteries already. So I recommend this for hardcore Agatha Christie fans. If you have one of those in your life, or somebody who has already read all of or most of Agatha Christie's mysteries, I would highly, highly recommend this excellent book. It's absolutely fascinating. That brings me to the end of my recommendations for today. I hope you've seen a Christie for Christmas that you would like to get for Christmas, or I've given you some inspiration for what you'd like to buy for the Christie fan in your life. If I have helped you to choose an Agatha Christie book, please do let me know in the comments down below which one you think it will be, or hit me up with your recommendations of which Agatha Christie books you like to read at this time of year, or which Agatha Christie book would you most like to receive for Christmas. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. I talk about Agatha Christie quite a lot, but I talk about books generally on a very regular basis here on BookTube. So I hope you'll all join me again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.